Hey, welcome to another episode of Geeks from the Multiverse. So glad you joined us on this multiversal journey. We are back again with AI versus Hollywood with our superhero epic, and we are going through our deviant characters. That's right, they are deviants, not because they chose to be, because they were labeled that way. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we are going to dive in where we got some profiles. We're going to review last week's episode. And if you haven't checked it out, you can click on last week's episode. And we're going to get right into this one.
We're geeks from the multiverse. We've come to unite all geeks. Now it's time to get geeky and dive right in, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Geeks from the Multiverse. I am your host, Mr. Grumpy Beard. With me, as always, is my buddy John, aka Captain Listache.
How you doing, everybody? Yes, and so yes, we're going to be talking about
Did you just become Scarface over there?
everybody. You know,
What's
of course
going
I did. I'll be like,
What's going
hey,
on?
say hello to my little friend. Okay, anyways,
Get him a Cubano over here.
Cabano. Anyways, you're going down a rabbit hole. I keep telling you should have done some voices, but you're not even doing it. So I'm not even going to start with you today. But anyways, yes, what Matt was saying is we're doing our part 2 of our AI versus Hollywood. It's going to be all about the Echoverse as the movie that we're talking about here. And this time we're going to be talking about the Deviants. As he said, they're labeled not just because that was just the way it was.
I can tell you this. AI has gone pretty deep. I mean, we've done the AI versus Hollywood, and I mean, we've talked about characters, but
Oh, yeah.
AI has done complete. I mean, you're talking ages, wives, children, backstories. Like these, like AI has created people. I mean,
it's scary.
they almost have social security numbers and
No,
like-
think about
like
it. I mean,
driver's
it's
license
scary.
numbers,
I
like-
mean, we're not even, I'm not going to mention too much about it, but like our next idea for this AI Hollywood thing.
you'll get it
I
at
mean,
the end
well,
of next.
yeah,
week's
of course,
episode.
yes.
Yeah.
But the point is it's so in tune with everything that I was like, wow. Like I did not think it would ever make it, but it did. ChatGPT was like, hey, you know what? We're going to make it as real as possible. And it delivered. But, here it's crazy because, when we're going through this so far, I mean, this is an idea literally out of the clear blue. This was just, give me a story. And then all of a sudden it was like, here you go. And then it brought in everything. And we're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And again, we're not talking about writers. We're not talking about, producers or people that have concepts or whatever the case is. We're talking about a machine that we said, here's a prompt. Here you go. Give me something. And it came up
Well, I mean, it is
almost
it is,
with everything.
It is, I would say, 85% maybe GPT, because it does take some human effort.
Okay.
It does take some human effort to be like, no. What you just said makes no sense to what we were just talking about. Like, fix this. Because, like,
Yeah, you're right.
we will be talking, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, it'll change, Lucian's name to Mike, and it'll be like, who the hell are you talking about right now? Like, that's nobody even in this movie. And be like,
Right.
and if you've ever used ChatGPT, I'm one that'll just be like, you're a fucking moron. What the fuck are you thinking? And I'll just go on this tirade, and I'll type out like a whole paragraph of just swears, and then ChatGPT will just be like, you're completely right to be frustrated. I'm a complete moron and an asshole. Just tell me what you want, and I'll fix it right away.
And you're like, okay, well, let me tell you what I want.
And I'll be like, oh, okay.
No, I mean, it's true. I mean, but it's funny though, because no, you are right. I mean, there is, in some ways, there actually are usually, humans behind the AI still functioning, because again, they still need coders. They still need people to like monitor the app and do all that, because that is true. They need to be able to like make it a thing. And so, but the point is though, is the machine is giving the idea of this movie,
Yes.
and basically get all the casting and all this stuff. And so it's just, again, it's still mind boggling that we're still making this, and we're like, hey, guess what? Hey, Hollywood, we have an idea for you. Whether you not, you actually make it is up to you.
Well, I think
but
I think
I don't know.
Hollywood would still fuck it up, but
Yeah, they would. And
I mean, so last week we talked about the overall movie summary, the plot. It is kind of in there, I guess in the preliminaries, because it's not a movie that's actually going to be made. It's just a theory and a
It's a
summary.
concept.
It's a concept. So we do have our Echoverse movie summary, and basically what it says is, and this would be, I guess you would see in the back of a DVD or Blu-ray if people even do buy those anymore.
I mean, I haven't bought a Blu-ray in a while, but yes,
I don't think I've ever bought a movie. Maybe on streaming. I've rented.
I mean, I've done both. I've bought a movie on streaming, and I've
Yeah.
also bought, physical copy.
I guess you would you would maybe could see this as the
Well,
description in streaming if I guess
Yeah.
if you
if you were to look at details and things like that. Yeah, of course.
I mean this might even be too long for streaming. They would probably shorten it to some
Unless it would
know.
I think it depends because Netflix might have a little longer where certain other apps might shorten it a little bit.
be like a stupid sentence
In a world. The end.
Deviants fight a corporate elite.
And that's it. You're like, wait, what?
What?
What the fuck is the point of this movie?
So, yes, the Echoverse summary basically says this. It says, a gripping superhero epic set in a world forever altered by a cataclysmic solar flare. As chaos erupts, a powerful few, labeled as deviants, awaken to strange new abilities tied to their former lives. But instead of being hailed as heroes, they're hunted. At the center of it all is Lucian Crawley, a ruthless corporate titan who rises to power as the Purifier, rewriting reality to brand deviants as threats. A small band of survivors, their memories fragmented, must piece together the truth and fight back before all of existence is reshaped in Lucian's twisted image. Memory, identity, and power collide in a battle across shattered timelines where the only way to survive is to remember who you really are.
See, I wanted Matt to do it in a voice that he he did it so well last week that I was a little upset that he didn't even do it this time. And I'm like, I've been trying to come up with new voices and do all this. I mean, we haven't even done the wheel of chaos over here, in a while. But I'm like, come on, I wanted you to have a little fun with it. But I get it. Whatever, that's on you. But yes, diving into Deviants, right? Because this is basically the well, not saying the protagonist of them all, but basically they're a major part of the story, right? And so
these are, I mean, they are the protagonists. I mean, they drive the story, but it's not just the main. I mean, we have the main 6 of them that we're talking about, but
Codex is really the main main protagonist,
and we have the. I don't want to really just call them backups or sidekicks because they're not really sidekicks, but they're
supporting roles. I mean, that's kind of what they are.
They're the supporting characters, but they're also deviants. But when we say deviants, we're really talking about all of those people who developed powers on that day that the solar flare hit. And this is one of those things, and one of the things that I recently, when I was talking to ChatGPT, because I really wanted to make sure we defined this well. Because I don't think in the last episode we defined this well enough.
Well, I was going to say, kind of, I know what you're talking about, going into that age, going into if they have any children or, what's their backstory a little bit more, because you're right. And the other one, it was more, yes, it was alien really based. And there was a couple humanoid, people, I guess if you want to call it, right? Because they were supposed to be on a different planet.
This one doesn't have any people on different planets, John.
No, I was talking about the other one. I'm just saying because
the other one
age-wise, that wouldn't make sense. Or you could, but it depends on which way you were looking at it. This one, absolutely, you could definitely define it.
Yeah, but we talked about it from the movie as a whole, but this one, we are really talking about people, and this is when we're talking about, we're talking really about the deviants. And really, when this solar flare hit, it rewrote this emotional landscape of every, we're going to call them now pre-deviant, because they weren't deviants before. This is where, when reality shifted, all of their relationships changed. You're talking families, friends, even their own children. They no longer see them in the same light. They see them as threats, monsters, criminals, even terrorists. And this is because of Lucian's manipulations to reality. So when you have a character like Ethan Stone, the pain really runs deep when his wife and his two kids look at him as a terrorist, as a monster, as a criminal.
Well, it kind of reminds me of, I'm not trying to like jump ahead here, but like, or I would say just like using like a reference, it kind of reminds me of like when you look at like the X-Men movies, right? Because when you start to look at how like at a young age, they're developing powers, and their parents are like, oh, I don't want them near me, and they get all afraid, and they're like, I don't, they're right, but the government starts to take notice of this, and they're like, oh well, we want to experiment on them. They want, blah blah blah. Kind of that same feeling where, this happened, and then all of a sudden, they're noticing they're changing, like they have powers all of a sudden. It's kind of that same effect of that mutant thing where, you want them to be the same. You want them to be like in this case, the same old dad, but now they're looking at him as, okay, well now he must be an asshole or a terrorist or like somebody that's just shouldn't be in the limelight, or I guess really just being an ordinary person again, even though he's like, I'm still me. I just have another ability.
But I think you do have to realize too is that they don't necessarily ever remember them being ordinary.
Well, correct, because I know good old Lucian,
Right.
as we talked about last time, he manipulated the whole situation, and
Yes.
so we'll talk about that more.
And that's because of the change in reality. So they believe the narrative that deviants are dangerous, and he's not alone. So Theo, who's one of the supporting characters, his daughter barely acknowledges him. Rachel's community. She's again one of the supporting characters. Her community turned its back on her. These aren't people just trying to survive. They're trying to restore the only life that mattered to them. And this is the motivation that they have in this movie. Their powers may be extraordinary, but the motivations are heartbreakingly human. They just want their family to remember who they once were. And they don't. And this is straight. I mean, this is straight from ChatGPT. This is not from me. I did not write this.
No, I know, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of reading ahead in some of the notes, and I'm like, damn, like they did a really good job on diving deep on each character, and I really am quite surprised.
None of this is mine.
No, I figured, because I was like, damn, backstory, powers, personality vibe. Like if they're married, if they have children, like the age, and I'm like, God damn, they're going.
I might have prompted, hey, write a, like a bio, write the,
sorry, like a bio. I didn't mean to yell like that.
Yeah, the profiles or whatever with powers and backstories with the information that we've already compiled, which was very short, by the way. It did not have a backstory. It had very, very little information in it. But it was already information that GPT had already given me.
That makes sense.
And with it, I mean, there's a full backstory. With some of the characters, I mean, it even gives like, I'm looking at Jackson Hayes, and we're going to get into it, but he even has like a union number. like, you know what I mean?
Union number.
It goes pretty deep, so.
I mean, I will say this. I mean, looking at, like I said, so far, it's just surprising to me that, technology has come so far in the last easily 20 years. Okay. And I mean, when you think about AI and stuff, like it wasn't, early on, I would say in the last 20 years, I mean, you might have some sort of AI, I guess, with like internet things because of, trying to like, okay, let me look up this. And then it would bring you to whatever websites or whatever things you were looking at. But now we're getting to the point where you literally type it into an application, or what we call an app, right? And all of a sudden it prompts and it does so many things in a split second that our minds couldn't comprehend, because we're not even close to being at that level. So when you're typing in prompts and you're doing all this stuff, and then, you're saying, hey, let's come up with this concept. Let's come up with these characters' bios and stuff. It's just, it is. I'm genuinely surprised that it came up with this very quickly
Yeah.
with all these characters and everything else. I mean, it's cool because like, when you're coming up with a story or like, when you look at comics or whatever, and you already have that kind of blueprint, as we always like to say, right? You already have that information, but if you're coming up with the fly and you're like, okay, well, do we want to, do we want it this way? Do we want it that way? Like you're going to spend some time on this. This thing just came out with it in probably 5 seconds and said, okay, here you go. No problem. We're going to get this right.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
right.
crazy.
There you go. Yeah. So Ethan Stone, he eventually does get the name Codex because of his abilities, but he is 35, married. His wife's name is Olivia Stone. She is an ER nurse, level-headed and compassionate. They have 2 children. Aiden Stone is 9. He is curious, loves building things with his dad. Not anymore, obviously.
Clearly.
Uh,
He's like, not today.
not today.
yeah.
And then Harper Stone, she is 6, creative, imaginative, always drawing. Pre-flare occupation, he was a lead neuroscientist. The company he worked for was Prometheus Labs, which was a firm under contract with Varion.
You don't say.
The field was neural encoding, memory retention, and cognitive gene therapy. And the project he was working on was called, interestingly enough,
The Codex.
the Codex, a classified experiment aiming to restore and enhance human memory by encoding it into a subject's DNA.
Funny how that works.
Isn't it, though? So Ethan can access, store, and transfer memories via physical touch. His DNA now functions like a living database of memory, including altered realities.
So yes, his power is genetic memory manipulation. Just so we're clear. So if anyone didn't know that, but yeah, so like memory restoration, so unlocking the true memories of individuals whose pasts have been overwritten. So in this case, again, when Lucian was like, "Hey, guess what? I'm just gonna wipe everyone's memory clean," he's like, "Nope, not today." And he remembers literally everything about his past and everything else that is in between. And then, of course, when he starts to touch people and do other things,
Right.
they unlock their memories back. And then memory beacon. So wakes up others. Yep, there you go. Right. By unlocking their original truths, permanently shielding them from future timeline shifts. So like, again, just like I just said.
So
being
this
able
is
to touch them and able to do that.
This is what was important. This was one I actually had to prompt GPT because I felt like it was important enough to
To mention what? To let it know about the memory beacon?
I felt like it was important to have him have an ability where it kind of opens the door in
Okay.
people's minds, so that, because if he just like unlocks the memory, then he always has to go up to his teammates and touch them to
Well, I mean-
unlock the memory. Because every time, if you think of every time Lucian makes a change,
Yeah, then he would have
then
to physically keep
then
talking.
everybody's mind changes all over again. So I think that memory beacon, once he wakes them up, it like opens that door.
I was thinking like it's almost like emitting like a transmitter, or like just emitting that like bing, 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 like just knowing like, hey, guess what? Anything changes, you're still here, right? You're like
Well, I think of it as like the Matrix. Like once you're out of the Matrix, like you don't really. I mean, you can jack back into it, but like you don't. You're not like back in the Matrix permanently. Like you're awake.
Right,
And
I
that's
mean-
kind of the same thing. Like once he awakens like those true memories, it opens that door. So like whenever that change is made, I don't think that they're aware of the change being made. I think they just remember who they were and like their past lives, so that they don't ever forget again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody else around them just knows, kind of like when you update your computer doesn't know the past version, it just knows the newer version. Right?
True. Yeah. No, you're right about that.
So that's kind of what people's minds do when there's that new reality. But for them, they don't know what the new version is. They just know, this is who I am, and this is what my past is.
Well, and this next ability that he has, this timeline awareness, so like remembers changes made by Lucian Crawley, to the current reality. So like, granted, not everybody knows, all of the changes. And I mean, of course he would for sure, but like, it's just crazy to think like only one person truly,
There's two.
well, two,
but-
besides Lucian, yes. I'm
no,
just.
there's
Well,
three actually, because
what do you mean just three?
the mentor does too.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
3 people. The point is even though it's just those 3 people, I mean, the fact that he's one of the few that can still watch and be like, okay, yeah, I see you're trying to manipulate all this crap. And he's like, I know this isn't true, kind of a deal. But like, when they start to awaken, or when he starts to awaken his teammates, or his now future teammates, as it will be, it shows that like progression,
Yeah.
of like them just saying, okay, well, I only know from right here. And then, of course, whatever happened in the past a little bit, but not anything that he's done in between those time frames. But he's just like, I'm current. I know what's going on. You can try to screw with me all you want. It ain't going to happen.
And I think there could be different levels to this. And this is where we were talking last week about the Rolodex thing.
Oh,
Where-
God. Yeah, I did. Well, the fact that we have to explain what a Rolodex is, but yeah,
But
sorry.
I think it has that feature to the the timeline awareness and the changes that are made. But I think it can be different levels. Like if Lucian's making just a small like little change, it might not affect him, which is the last thing, which is not really it's not really a power. It's really the negative.
Right.
Because this is where I think GPT really makes a good positive negative thing, because it's the mental strain. Each reality change adds a mental load. Too many threads can really threaten Ethan's identity and stability. And this is where I think that level of change, whether it's a big change or kind of like a minor thing, will add to that, kind of mental load that he's taking. If it's a huge change that changes the whole, city or world as a whole,
Right.
that's gonna really change that mental load. If he's changing like, oh yeah, you want a new ability on your, on your suit for one of his death squad guys, like that's probably a minor thing that he
Right,
might not really.
Right. It's not going to be like a big, like, I was going to think of like financial. I don't know why I was going to think financial there. I was just more like a burden added on to his like memory of already. And so like you were saying, it's, causing so much distress and so much, in that sense, pain of like constantly weighing him down of like, okay, what is, the truth and the reality? And I mean, it's just mind boggling to me. Like mind boggling, it's like,
Mind-boggling.
it also, it kind of,
We haven't even gotten to the backstory
I
yet.
know we
This
haven't
is
even got
crazy.
hold on, stop.
Yeah.
No, the thing is, like, he kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Professor X, and not necessarily like the entire way, but like it reminds me of like the mental like strain, like when he would always, try to go into someone's mind and do all that, like not quite like that, but like the mental capacity is just
Powers wise, yes.
yeah, but
Yeah.
but when he overloaded his brain, I mean it
Yeah.
knocked him out, so it's got to be similar to what he's probably going through in that sense.
Character wise, ChatGPT actually compared him to Samuel Beckett from Quantum Leap.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't think that was what you would have thought, but okay, yeah.
That's
what
who
they
that's
did.
who he compared him to.
Okay.
Anyways,
Well, whatever.
that was a neat thing. I don't know. But his backstory, basically, it's pretty long, so I think we can probably cut it up. I'll do the first part. You can do the second part. Where
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
So Ethan is a trailblazing neuroscientist who began the Codex, which is the project he was working on, not to cheat death or to chase profit, but to help people like his father, Robert Stone, who is 68, who slowly lost his battle with early onset dementia, that fear of forgetting, of watching someone slip away while still alive. That drove Ethan to the edge of obsession. So Ethan is a deeply loving family man, fiercely protective of his wife and kids, but is often absent. The lab, the project, they became his second home, which only fed his guilt. He's smart, dryly funny. I wonder who else is dryly funny
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you? Because it ain't me.
sometimes. Calm under pressure and often the voice of reason, but beneath the composure, he carries the quiet terror of losing himself, of forgetting not just his mission, but the people who matter most. And I actually underlined that because I thought that was one of the lines where I was like, wow. That's kind of deep in the way that that GPT like just threw that in there.
That is pretty deep. I mean, you don't see that as often either, but
Like fears losing himself, although he loses his family in the way that they don't acknowledge him anymore. I was just like, wow,
wow.
damn, like,
Talk about a story plot.
yeah. So you can continue from
Oh, okay.
there.
So then, yeah. So of course, when that solar flare hits, something in Ethan's genetic experiments combined with the solar radiation triggered a quantum rewrite of his DNA. His brain didn't just remember anymore. It became memory. Now, through touch, Ethan can download, upload, and recall memories embedding in living DNA. He's the only person capable of remembering changes made to reality itself, even when no one else can. But it's a dangerous gift. Every rewrite by Lucian Crowley pushes more into his brain, too much, and his mind could fracture permanently. So before I go any further, reading this, it's crazy to me that you're looking at the fact that this man, with literally just a touch of his finger, literally, it's like he could download any skill he wanted to and just become a master at it within seconds. Imagine doing that. Imagine just being like, I want to be a master chef. Look at that. I just became a master chef. Like being the Gordon Ramsay status, you know what I mean? Or something like that. It's crazy to me.
I don't think it's as easy as like the Matrix, but
Well, I'm not saying like that, but I mean the fact that he could just, again, download data in a sense. The possibilities are endless, though, with his powers.
I think the memories and the knowledge. I mean, obviously, it's not like body memory and muscle memory.
Well,
you know what I mean?
No. But I mean, at least if he can use his knowledge in that regard, he could easily learn the muscle memory of that.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. But anyways, yes, I know we got to get moving here. So yes, Ethan isn't just fighting to stop a corrupt corporation or correct the timeline. He's fighting to get his life back. His wife and children no longer know him. They've been reshaped by the new reality to fear deviants like him. And of course, as Matt mentioned before, yes, he highlighted that too, because of course for his origin story, you need to.
Yeah.
And then the more Crowley warps the world, the further they drift away. Ethan's struggle is personal. He's a man torn between logic and heartbreak, burdened with the memories of a world that no longer exists. He doesn't want to lead a revolution, but no one else remembers the truth. And if he doesn't fight it to bring it back, no one will.
I can't be the only one that keeps thinking, Mr. Crowley. Like I can't be the only one, right? Like I keep seeing his name and I just keep Mr. Crowley. What you done with your hair?
Jesus Christ! I love how you ran, Mr. Crowley. What have you done with your hair? Like, what is wrong with you? Why started this shit?
I just keep thinking. I don't know. But yes, I mean, his main motivation isn't to be like, I mean, obviously he's an intellect. He's an intelligent guy. He's not a fighter. So he's not sitting there going like, I'm going to create a revolution. His motivation is, I need to get my life back. I need to get my family back. I need to, do what I need to do to get my family to not think I'm some kind of a monster. And does he know how to do that? Probably not. I mean, he has this company probably hunting him down. I mean, I don't think he worked directly for this company, but they probably funded his project.
Well, they probably knew about his project for sure, and they were probably very interested in this project because it's a very interesting, especially nowadays. I mean, that's like Nobel Peace Prize worthy in this point, especially with genetics and that kind of stuff with memory. So, I mean, again, I get his motivation. I get, why basically ChatGPT did an amazing job with his everything. Like, I can't see any flaws with it. There's not really things in the story, at least, like, in most movies, there's always that tiny little hole in a plot or like in a character that you're like, I'm not saying all of them, but there are definitely some that you're like why did we miss this? Why, I can't see that with this guy. I can't really see.
No, and
any,
this is
like,
the guy that
potholes.
we would be following pretty much from the start of the movie to the end of the movie. This is the
Right.
guy that we would be following the pretty much the whole time.
Right, and because everyone else, like good old Jackson Hayes here, Mr. Codename Tremorjack.
And if I had to pick a second guy, this probably would be the guy. Like this would be the second guy that I think
this would be the second guy.
this would probably be like the second guy, the guy that probably would be like the guy that would be closest to being like throughout the movie. These guys would be probably friends at some
Like,
point.
So basically, like best friends down the road.
It's funny because like very early on when I was planning this, ChatGPT actually wrote a scene when Ethan was in the car on the way to work. And
Does he like see him particularly?
yes, and Ethan was on the phone. I think he was initially on like a work call, and you've all been in the car and seen people like when they stop in the middle of the intersection.
Oh yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening is Jackson Hayes in the scene is attempting to. I mean, what he does, he's a asphalt crew foreman, jackhammer specialist. That's what he does. He works a jackhammer.
Right. So again, it's construction, which makes total sense.
So where in the scene, Ethan is driving, he doesn't see that the light is changing to red, and he goes through it. And where he stops is exactly where Jackson was about to start jackhammering. And so that's the scene where he walks right up to his window, knocks on the window, and he's like, "Hey, you got to get your ass out of here!" Like, you know,
I'm starting to hammer here.
and
Get out of my
you know,
face.
and that's pretty much like the scene. He's like, "You got to move. Like we're starting to work over, and that's kind of like the scene. He's just there, and he's like, "I'm sorry, man," like but that's basically the scene. It's just kind of a funny interaction,
Yeah, like
where-
the first interaction that you'd see these two ever even talking at first.
right? And it's just Jackson is very gruff. He's strong as hell. Like not one of those guys where you want to be like, "Hey, just give me a second." No, when he's knocking on your window, like he's like,
Get the fuck out of the way.
"You need to move. Like we're working. Like we're starting." And
Yeah.
that's kind of the scene. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm moving right now. I'm sorry." Like
Well,
and that's
yeah.
kind of it's just a quick like little Easter egg scene where they have that like kind of a first interaction. And I think like when they meet later on, and they might have this like, "Wait, you were that guy in the car talking on the phone when I was starting to work." Like when he finally gets his eyes open, like
oh yeah.
yeah. But I think like, it's just kind of a funny like a little Easter egg like very early on, like when you get that foreshadowing,
Well, right before you start to see the main premise of the movie,
Yeah.
this is like a little like prologue to the movie.
Right. Yeah,
Which
yeah.
makes
It was just one of those like foreshadowing moments, like when you see Jackson Hayes and you see Ethan Stone kind of having like a weird pre solar flare conversation, and maybe in the background you see people like on their phones, and they're seeing like the news on their phone or whatever. But that was kind of like a fun little.
Yeah, no,
I'm like,
and I get what
yeah,
you're
I'm
saying.
like, we're not really gonna mention like I don't want to go too far into like the movie.
But yeah, so Jackson Hayes, real quick, codename Tremorjack. He's 38. He's divorced. His ex-wife is Tasha Reddick. She's a nurse, apparently still on good terms, so that's good. He's got one kid named Micah Hayes. Lives with his mom, idolizes his dad, but pretends not to.
Damn 13-year-old.
I was going to say pretends not to, and then I was like, oh, I thought there was something else, but I guess pretends not to. But yes, those damn teenagers. And then he has the pre-flare occupation, as he already mentioned. He's an asphalt crew foreman / jackhammer specialist. He's with the Union Local 139 municipal, road and infrastructure. So basically, you're the guys that get paid so much goddamn money to build the damn bridges and sit there for fucking months on end. Yes, I'm mentioning the fucking bridge over here, man, in goddamn Hudson, New Hampshire. Yes, you guys can hurry up now.
They gotta wait until they authorize the work for the
Yeah,
day.
well, I'm not
You
gonna
know what
get.
I mean,
And then Rourke reputation. Yes, he's reliable. He's strong as hell. Always had people laughing. Known for singing off key during breaks and bringing cold Gatorades for new guys. Okay, look at this guy.
look at this guy. Yeah.
He's a team player. I like this guy already.
So backstory: Jackson was a blue collar to the bone, working sunrise to sundown on busted streets, cracking concrete and getting the job done. He's rough around the edges, but respected by his crew and deeply committed to his kid. When the solar flare hit, Jackson was mid-swing with the jackhammer. The cosmic energy surged through him, through the tool and into him, fusing the rhythm of the machine with his body. The shaking didn't stop because now he was the source. So the post-flare mutation gives him a seismic power source. So his body generates sonic and seismic energy. Shockwave.
Boo. Sorry.
Shockwave punches. So every punch can rattle bone or send shockwaves across the ground. Ground quakes. Slamming fists or stomping cause tremors that collapse structures or disrupt enemy movement. And sonic bursts can blast waves of concussive sound by clapping, yelling, or slamming his body.
No offense, his code name should have been Earthquake. That's what it reminds me of at this point.
I didn't come up with Tremorjack.
I know. I'm just saying at this point. But like
there was one ridiculous one that I took out.
Which one? You know what? Please enlighten us on what was the ridiculous name that you took out.
Hold on. I'll go back
pull it up?
to the history and look it up.
All right, you do that. I'm going to talk about the personality and role on the team. So Jackson, of course, is the loud one. He always has to make a joke, as we've talked about before. Always talking trash, but always watching people's backs. He's the heart of the team in every working class warrior way, where Ethan is brain and precision, Jack is raw energy and passion. He doesn't trust Deviant or the corporate elite. Grew up watching people like them walk over guys like him. Despite his power, he still carries a chip on his shoulder and a deep loyalty to everyday folks just trying to survive. He joined the Deviants not to stop Lucian, but to make sure the people who caused the world to break don't get to rebuild in their image. And that's a guy who I'd want on my team. Even though he's a loud one, I want him to be the one that I can rely on. So he'd be like my second in command. He'd be I want him to be there no matter what. I'd always be.
That is why I said like he would be like that second guy.
And that would make sense. But go ahead. What was this ridiculous name?
The one that I deleted because I was like, no, I don't want this to be like Marvel or DC where the powers are unrealistic. It was called Tremor Surfing.
Tremor Surfing.
So can ride seismic ripples to propel himself short distances or skip over danger.
What? Tremor Surfing?
Tremor Surfing.
And that was his name that he came up, the ChatGPT came up?
No, that was one of his powers.
That was one of the I thought it was his name.
No, that was one of the powers. So I was like,
Tremor
no.
Surfing. Get the hell out of here.
I wanted to, no, I'm like, no. Because that is no. It needs to be at least somewhat like, I understand we're doing a superhero, but like
surfing?
it still needs to be grounded. Like I'm not having some random guy going, wee, like
woo.
No, like this dude is like a serious dude. Like he's a bit like if you see the carrot, like when you see the posters and you look at Tremorjack, he is not a dude riding on seismic.
I just
like sonic waves. Okay.
Well, when you called it Tremor Surfing, I was like, what the fuck is a name called Tremor Surfing? I've never heard of something like that.
So like, yes, the sonic bursts. Like I mean, obviously, I don't see him like just do it like Hulk, like the Hulk slap or whatever. I can see him maybe like yelling or maybe like if he did like a hockey check.
Okay,
I could see that.
I was thinking more of like two people, like Havoc or like a Black Canary. Like, you know, I know it's kind of a stretch here, but like, you know, like the little like the sonic vibration kind of a thing, and like being able to like skip.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I guess that's just my version.
I think with the sonic burst, maybe not clapping, but I could see him maybe like if he like punched his fist together, like something I just don't see him like.
like bam,
like doing something like clapping or yelling. But I mean,
actually, what if he just went bam every single time and he just bam, bam, and bam, just start bam. You're like what? Bam. what?
He just runs around. Bam, bam, bam,
like bam. We're like, what is this? What are you doing? Hey, what's up? Bam.
Like,
What is this guy
Jackson,
doing?
can you just stop? Bam! Bam! Bam!
Oh my God. I probably would be like, shut up. Anyways,
Oh,
this
gosh.
next guy, Theo Johnson II, his code name is Alloy. Oh God, sorry.
This guy's kind of cool, to be honest with you.
So he's 38. He's widowed. His spouse, unfortunately, yes, who is dead, deceased, is Angela Johnson. He's had one daughter named Simone Johnson. She's 9. And his pre-flare occupation was a steel mill worker at McTavish Steelworks Heavy Press Division. Now, I have no idea where McTavish Steelworks has anything to do with the Deviant thing, but I guess we're going to find out in his little backstory here. But
I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think that's just where he worked. But
you do that.
So Theo Johnson was once a family man through and through, devoted husband to Angela, proud father to Simone, but his life was shattered 5 years before the flare when a drunk driver slammed into their car on a rainy stretch of highway. Angela was killed instantly. Theo barely survived, left in critical condition with shards of steel embedded in his chest and spine. Some were too dangerous to remove. He woke up to a world missing its brightest light and a daughter too young to understand what she'd lost. He never truly healed, but he went back to work at McTavish Steelworks, pushing through the pain for Simone. The mill was grueling, but it was honest, and it kept his mind off the grief for a while. Then came the solar flare. Theo was standing near an open crucible when it struck. The extreme heat, radiation, and metal already in his blood created a violent achemical fusion. He should have died again, but this time his body changed. The man who was broken became something more indestructible. Now it's not just him and Simone. He's willing to go to war with the world to protect her. Although now it's also Simone that doesn't know. I mean, obviously she knows who he is, but she thinks he's a terrorist. And I would almost assume that she must be in some kind of a foster situation, because it's not like she wants to be taken care of by him.
Well, I would say now, right? Because before, I mean, I would assume that with the deceased, or with his wife being dead, he probably couldn't do it all on his own. So he probably had to, either seek help or, in this case, give her up for adoption or something of the nature. I mean, it sucks to be a 9-year-old and have to do that, but like in this case, if he had visitations,
well, I'm sure there must be some other family that must be watching her while
Right.
he works.
Well,
so
right.
I'm sure there must be somebody that is taking care of her.
but now that he has become who he is,
But the Deviants at this point, after the flare, I mean, the change that Lucian had made is that, like, they're not even American citizens. Like, they have no rights, no nothing. So
right? Because Congress was like, nope, you guys are nothing.
right. So I'm assuming that would even include like parental rights. They have they have nothing. Like, they are not even legally married anymore. They can't drive cars. They have nothing. Like, they have literally anything that was in their life is gone.
Basically, I mean, I'm going to hate saying it like this, but they're slaves. I mean, they got no rights. They got no nothing. That's what they are.
They're literally have been disappeared. Like,
Yeah, they're
they're nothing. Yeah. So, I mean, I think out of any of the stories, this one is the most tragic out of all of them. Like, this is,
I mean, it already sucks that his wife is dead prior to this flare, so it doesn't really help with that fact. But then the fact that he's losing his only daughter because of all this shit.
yeah.
Of course, this guy's like, I got
And
nothing to live for.
And he's literally fighting for his daughter.
Right.
The only thing that he really has to live for is
Right,
like,
is her.
I will go to war to get her back.
Right. And it just sucks that this is the only thing that's keeping him alive.
Yeah. So basically, and I want to preface this because, yes, his name becomes Alloy. That becomes like kind of his code name, but he does not just become like the T-1000 from like the
Oh, yeah.
Terminator.
You mean, okay,
Like,
yeah.
I would assume like the metal is more raw looking. Like, it's not like he can just form it into perfect shapes.
So kind of like
It's
maybe not quite.
chrome looking like.
So maybe not quite like the thing, like you know what I'm talking about, like his body being a rock in that appearance, but in this case being like let's say it's steel, but it's like kind of that same form of like it's hard, it's very rigid.
Yeah, like if you was to form it into a hammer, it would look in the shape of a hammer, but it wouldn't be like
it wouldn't be nice and pretty.
perfectly shaped as like a hammer. It would be hammer-esque. Like claws would not look like, nice, perfect shaped claws. It would probably look kind of like if you were in a horror movie.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They would be roughly shaped. So basically what he can do is he can manipulate molten metal. It becomes more of a symbiotic metal living alloy fused to his cells, giving him both offensive and defensive capabilities. So weapon morphing. Transforms his limbs into deadly melee weapons, so hammers, claws. I would say blades, but it's not like they would be, like I said, sharpened.
Right.
I mean, I guess he could sharpen them, but if you want to spend the next hour going, hold on, guys, I'll be done in an hour.
Or you know what? Actually, I was going to say this. You remember it's like the old school way of doing it.
Do you have a grinder? I mean, this thing's going to take all day.
Well, no. I was going to say is like, it kind of reminds, like if you're going to talk about that, it's like I think it was like the old way to make a knife. You know how like the person would sit there. It was like, they have this like giant wheel and they're just like grinding. That's what he would be doing. Like, hold on, guys. It's going to take me a little while.
It's going to take me a while, guys.
And he's just like sitting there, like, okay, we're almost there, guys. Anyways.
Yes. So reactive armor, alloy hardens around him, forming a protective plating. He can redistribute coverage in real time. So, I mean, like I said, it's not like he's going to form this perfect like shaped shield. It's basically just going to be like a shape of metal. You know what I mean?
It's just going to be like, let's say a square, like a very rigid square
or a oblong shape of metal. It's just,
right.
He's basically just going to form a metal shape. So tendril and spike launching attacks enemies at a distance. He can fire metal projectiles or grabbing with, sharp tendrils. Metal molten surge. So this can be like a rage form. So in a heated state, his metal glows red hot, making melee strikes explode on impact. And then regenerative repair. He can reabsorb lost metal, patch minor wounds. Major injuries do require like rest or new material. So I'm assuming if there's metal around, he can absorb it.
Hey, that's kind of cool. At the same time, because then it regenerates him in a sense.
Yeah.
And then his personality and /vibe. So he, Theo's a quiet warrior, not because he lacks emotions, but he's always able to carry the weight of responsibility. He's stoic, he's loyal, fiercely protective of his family and his team. He jokes in dry one-liners. That's Matt. Let's let others take the spotlight. That's Matt. And only steps forward when things get really bad. No, that's not really Matt. I'm only joking. Come on now. Deep down, he's afraid his new power makes him less of a man, more metal than human. He hides his pain and his doubt and his fear behind steel. Literally. I'm telling you, this, for some reason, and I know I haven't taken a look at him quite yet. It just reminds me of the Thing, like in the sense of that, but I know it's not necessarily that. You know what I mean?
He's definitely the more tragic of the team. I mean, he's.
Well, now I gotta look him. I gotta look at the poster.
He's certainly like the tank of the team.
There he is. Okay, let me see. Well, in this photo, he's not quite like the Thing. You know what I mean? Like in the sense, like he's still, he's still a human. Like he's clearly like that, unless he's like, fully like his whole body is made out of like steel or some sort of metal of the sort. I mean, it's kind of like
he's obviously not going to be like Colossus or whatever the.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
No, he will take. I mean, he's mainly human looking. I think he can make his body look like more metal if he wanted to, but I think for the most part, it's more of his arms. Obviously, he can make his head, like I said, he can make his whole body, but I think for the most part, he just makes his arms into, weapons if he needs to.
Well, I mean, not gonna lie though, the next character, Golem, or really Rachel Cole is really her name, but again, AKA Golem. Sorry, Golem. Like, Lord of the Rings, Golem.
So this one was interesting too, and I do want to preface this because this was one where, again, ChatGPT and wanting to take a book right out of Hollywood's playbook. Because
here we go.
When
Matt's going.
When we talk about DEI,
here we go. There it is.
we're gonna have an episode. It's gonna be a little bit out, but listen, you can have characters who are female and LGBTQ because DEI, if you do it right, is completely invisible. It should be completely invisible.
Correct.
It's not about
the forefront.
Like the representation should not be blasting it on social media and making it so that your characters have to be like, I'm a lesbian, like,
well, no.
and making out and doing shit on every platform that you do. Like this character, yes, Rachel Cole is a lesbian character. Oh my gosh, no, ChatGPT created this character.
I mean, technically, if that was the case, you just might as well just make Ethan Stone gay, or whatever, right? I mean, because if we're talking about a main character, if we were to talk about DEI in that sense, I mean, that would be the
ChatGPT created this character. I did not, but
I find it interesting.
I thought it was interesting, but you know what? Not one thing in this backstory says that she is LGBTQ. Or that she is a lesbian.
So, and I
love that because you know what? Like I said, if you do DEI right and inclusion right and representation right, it should be invisible,
right?
To the point of it's representing the LGBTQ, QITIPIZ community.
Jeez. I'm sorry.
Whatever letters you want to put at the end of it, I don't give a shit. But it's representing your community.
Sorry.
Listen, it's.
I can't. It's the way you were like LGBTQIA plus B. I was like, what kind of shit are you throwing in now?
Listen.
Focus, Linda.
Listen, Linda.
Listen, Melinda by the window. Anyways.
It's representing your community of people.
Correct.
But it's not saying, and it's not saying like we're throwing it in your face by saying like, look at me. It's not doing any of that shit. We're saying this is who she is. Big fucking whoop.
Please, I will say this right now. If you could do that same voice again in like another couple of characters down and be like, look at me. That would be great. Anyways, let's talk about her for a second. So yes, her name's Rachel Cole. She's 44, clearly one of the oldest so far.
Not the oldest.
Not the oldest, one of the oldest, yes. So she's marital status. So this is the interesting part. This is what Matt's trying to talk about. So she's currently single. She's in a complicated on and off again relationship with a woman named Tess Navarro, who is a paramedic and former combat medic. Interesting. And then, so again, her occupation, pre-flare, is the owner/operator of Strauss Stoneworks, a high-end patio masonry and stone sculpting company known for the precision detail and elite craftsmanship. So that's cool. I mean, that, so it's weird to think about, like, and I'm going to say it like this, right? And I'm not trying to be, feminist or whatever you want to call it, right? Or even sexist for that matter. You don't see too many women being in a masonry, like in the sense of like stoneworks and shit like that, being the owner of that. And I'm not trying to be whatever. I think it's cool. I think it's great. You don't see that every single day that there's a person over here.
Right.
Let's say, hey, you know what? I'm an owner that basically, let's the man, I can't even speak today. Specifies like in, let's say, granite or whatever, right? And there's strictly stone. I mean, it's interesting that ChatGPT did that because again, most occupations, especially for women, I'm gonna say it. I'm not, and depending on the field, like yeah, like when you look at, let's say, I'm gonna throw an example out here, but like human services or administrative or whatever the case is, right? And you can name a whole bunch of others. Typically, there are a lot of female-driven fields, right? Oh, excuse me. It does not mean that men can't do it. And just like I said, with the whole stone thing, I'm like, okay, you want to throw that in there? Go for it. Be my guest.
She's tough as hell.
Clearly, you don't. Yeah, but again, you don't see that.
She's tough as hell. So that's one of the things about Rachel is like I'll go through the backstory. So she built her life one stone at a time, literally.
Literally.
Raised in a blue-collar family of builders, she learned early how to work with her hands, speak her mind. She founded Strauss Stoneworks from scratch and ran it with an iron will, carving out a reputation as the toughest boss in the region, also the most respected. She once had a good thing with Tess Navarro, a sharp-witted, grounded woman who saw through Rachel's hardened exterior. But over time, Rachel's obsessive work ethic, perfectionism, and emotionally walled-off nature wore down the relationship. She never stopped loving Tess, but love wasn't enough when Rachel refused to let anyone fully in. The night of the solar flare, Rachel was alone in the yard, finishing prep for a high-profile install. She was surrounded by rare stone slabs, quartz, obsidian, granite. When the flare struck, the energy didn't just hit her, it woke something up. The minerals fused with her DNA, hardening her body and parts of her soul into living stone.
And so like when I looked at her photo, I mean, it kind of like the same thing with Alloy. Yeah, Alloy. Sorry. It's that same idea, like, because when you look at their photos, I mean, they're very similar in that sense. One's like in more metal and this one's more stone and things like that. But like, when you look at their hands, especially, I would say look at their hands when you see the posters because they're very similar. But again, one's metal, one's stone. And like what I said, I originally thought it's like both of them could be if they wanted to mask their whole bodies with kind of like the Thing in a sense. But like she would look more as like the Thing than he would. And he would just be like, I don't know, a metal monster, I guess, if you want to call it like that. But it's crazy to look at her though, because, she's already, grown up as like, she's like, speaks her mind, is growing up in a blue collar family, is like, working with her hands, doing all this. Again, typically, and like I said, it's not as common, but it does happen. It's just, she's that kind of woman that, she doesn't take shit from no one. Like she's that one that'd be like right in your face and doesn't matter if you're a male or a female.
There's a whole personality thing in here, and it's blunt and no nonsense. Doesn't sugarcoat. If it's on her mind, it's coming out. Protective like a stone wall. She guards what she cares about, even if she doesn't say it. She's hard to read. Her emotional armor is as thick as her stone form. Dry humor. Everybody has dry humor.
A lot of dry humor. Yeah. I think it's Matt's doing because he does have a lot of dry humor.
You know what? I did not put the dry humor shit in here.
Well, apparently they like to think of you for some reason. Okay?
So it says deadpan wit often at someone else's expense. Secretly sentimental. Keeps mementos, including old photos of Tess, buried under the surface.
Now her powers, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, you went to personality. I'm going to do the powers.
Well,
now.
you were already talking about personality.
Well, that's
that's why I skipped it.
So yes, her powers are this: it's mineral assimilation and stone form physiology. Right. So her stone form armor, Rachel body, she becomes a hardened, layered stone shell, making her a walking tank. Imagine a missile coming right at you, like literally, and just be like, "Oh, I'm done. Let me just throw that right back at you." You know what I mean? Like, stop it, boom. There you go. You're right back at you.
But the thing is, too, I mean, like even the second one, like, can pull different mineral types into her body to enhance durability, sharpness, or density. Like, you have to realize, like, if you're outside, there's freaking minerals and rocks and all kinds of stuff already on the ground.
Oh yeah, when you look at concrete, you look at the sand, you look at everything. I mean, like
you're talking almost like Sandman, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. So I mean, if you could literally look at that and be like, she can manipulate anything around her.
So if
mostly.
she was like, say 5'9", 5'8", she could easily become what, 7, 8, 10 feet tall.
Yeah, she'd be as tall as the Hulk, basically, at that point.
Like she could become as tall as she and wide as she wanted to if there was enough minerals around.
Well, Matt, be careful now. You don't want her to be too wide in certain places. I'm just saying. Whoa, hey, whoa! I didn't say it. I'm just saying. I'm just like, you don't want to do that now. You want to keep it PG up in here. Not
Right,
really.
so
Anyways,
seismic shock transfers force through the ground, shattering terrain or destabilizing enemies, and shield formation can raise protective stone barriers for herself or allies. That sounds like Avatar almost.
that's a lot of things.
Like
I mean, the shield
kind-
formation, like,
kind of like earthbenders, like can when they stomp on the ground and it.
well,
brings up
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's got some interesting powers. I mean, literally between her and even Alloy, like those two could be walking tanks, could literally protect everybody while they're doing other things. Like Tremorjack could be like, "Hey, you two, go fend off these guys real quick," and they'd have no issues with doing that.
I'm gonna go tremor surfing, bro.
Tremor surfing, bro. Like, what is that shit? Get out of
I
here.
actually don't. I actually kind of like Luke Morrow. So this guy, I mean, he does have kind of a tragic story too. Even though I mean, most of his stuff is military, but he is.
I can relate to this guy.
He's 39. His code name is Apex. He is divorced. His ex-wife is Karen Morrow. He has one child named Eli.
Hold on, before you go any further. Of course, it had to be Karen. It had to be. She was one of those, wasn't she? She would go to the store and be like, "Excuse me, let me find your manager, please." Like, no, I'm
You
joking.
can't assume that that's what his
No.
ex-wife is like.
No, I'm
John.
joking, but come on, Karen, you could have chose a different name.
I didn't choose any
Well,
names.
ChatGPT, you should have changed the name. You don't want to have a Karen in your life. No wonder why he's divorced. Anyways.
His ex-wife is Karen Morrow. His child's name is Eli Morrow. Eli is 14, lives with his mother, but wants to spend time with his dad despite his mother's protests against it.
Oh, so it's
of course,
funny.
because
No, but
she's Karen, of course.
No, of course she's Karen. Yeah, see, at least you agree with me now. No, so it's funny how this teenager's like, no, I want to spend time with my dad. The other one's like, no, I don't want to spend time with dad. Ew. Like this one's like, of course I want to spend time with my dad. That's good. At least
Well,
there's a dynamic difference here.
Pre-flare. obviously.
Well, okay, pre-flare, whatever. You know,
So occupation Pre-Flare was a former military sniper, then became owner-operator of Pinpoint Academy, which is a precision weapon and survival training facility.
this reminds me of Bullseye / Deadshot. Like literally, that's what this already reminds me of. But go ahead.
Pretty much. So backstory, Luke Morrow was born to aim true. He was raised in, not born in a military family. I guess he was, but
It was born in a military family.
raised in a military family. He enlisted straight out of high school, became one of the Army's most dependable snipers.
Ooh.
But after several tours and one mission gone sideways, the bullets didn't just hit targets, they stuck in his memory.
Mm-hmm.
Racked by PTSD and disillusioned with government red tape, he retired early and tried to rebuild a life with his wife and son. That didn't last.
No shit. That's
Uh,
basically every military in this scenario. But go ahead,
Yes.
keep going.
Karen left saying he was too distant, too intense, too broken to be the man she needed. He didn't fight her. He just took the pain and redirected it like he always did into something precise.
Karen, there's a lot more to you. It's your name. Sorry.
So he founded Pinpoint Academy, part firearm safety school, part elite level marksmanship camp, part therapy. He taught others how to focus, how to breathe, how to hit. So the day the solar flare struck, Luke was hit mid-demo, transitioning between weapons to showcase the connection between body, breath, and velocity. As he squeezed the trigger on his sniper rifle, the light warped, a pulse hit, and time bent. Something changed in his brain, his vision, his entire wiring. Now he doesn't just see, he calculates everything.
So this guy, with his powers, right? So looking at his kinetic precision and hyper acuity. So auto-targeting reflexes, his body naturally adjusts to hit anything, doesn't think, just reacts. That is like the ultimate weapon. When you can just bam, bam, you know, just bam,
Bam! Bam! It It reminds me of you remember that old I think it was like in the 90s or maybe early 2000s, like that guy who was playing he probably was playing Call of Duty, but he was playing Call of Duty and he just boom headshot, boom headshot, boom headshot.
He would be that guy. He would be the guy like, oh, I got you. And then trajectory manipulation. So alters object paths mid-flight with micro adjustments in kinetic energy. How the hell can you do that in midair, basically, and already calculate all that shit while it's happening?
I mean, people were doing that in Call of Duty.
I mean, you're right. I mean, curving the bullet. Let me curve the bullet for you. Like, get out of here. Get out of here with that shit.
I mean, people were doing that in Advanced Warfare. You remember that shit?
You mean hold on. You mean flying through the air, like on sideways on a fucking wall? Yeah, you mean that? Yeah, I know what you mean.
I remember one time when I was in the air and then somebody else was in the air
and you're like trying to shoot.
And then somebody quick scoped me and I was like
fuck.
How the fuck did that happen?
Like, God damn it. Piece of shit. Anyways.
Yes.
And then hypersight.
Yes.
Sees at extreme distance with zoom-like accuracy, reads heartbeat rhythms, gait patterns, and muscle tension. That's crazy. Like literally having your own like heartbeat sensor in your eye socket and being like you can feel and like see everything that this person's doing. That's fucking insane. Yeah. Ricochet, there you go. Ricochet mastery. Good old wall bangs, baby. Bang!
Wall bang, wall bang, wall bang.
Can make projectiles with impossible precision off any surface. So imagine taking literally, you know what? Here, let's see if we can find something over here. Let me see if I can find. Okay, so taking that little like plastic, it's the like little funnel thing, and just bouncing it off a wall and like hitting somebody right in the dead center of their eyes and like killing them.
I can see this conversation. They'd be like, "Yo, $10 off that thing, off that water bottle, off the lamp, off that picture, off that thing right there, off that picture, right in your forehead."
You know who you reminded me of? Hold on. You know what that reminds me of? Tell me if you even know. Yeah, I don't even think you remember this. So Larry Bird and Michael Jordan back in the day, they had this like famous commercial. It was with McDonald's. And they said, okay, off the backboard.
I think I do remember that.
But it's exactly what you just said. It was like, it's exactly what it reminded me of. But anyways. And then bullet time reflexes. So processes combat situations in near slow motion, giving him unmatched timing. This reminds me of, ready? This reminds me of Sherlock Holmes. And like the with Robert Downey Jr., like that one where he's like, okay, I'm going to calculate what I'm about to do. He's like, I'm going to hit him here, hit him there. I can't even, this guy already, I'd rather be him. I'd rather have his power. Like this is like fascinating to me, like how precision.
And the thing is that like, obviously like this is something like his brain and eyes and this is like something that he just does. Like, you know what I mean? It's just something like his.
He already had the years of experience. Right. So he already had years of experience, but then adding all this shit to it? Holy fuck. Like, this is the ultimate killer.
You better hope that this guy never becomes a villain.
Right. Or the fact that he, unless, and hopefully you're not the damn target because like you'd be fucked in any capacity. He'd be like, oh yeah, don't worry. You see that card over there? I'm going to throw it at your fucking forehead and you're dead. Like that's it. Now,
you think you're safe at 1,000 yards? No.
Good luck with that. So again, his personality, right? So he's a tactician at heart, always observing, always calculating. Okay, that makes sense, clearly. And then loyal to the core. Once you earn his trust, he's unshakably protective, which, again, just like any military guy, I would say that's very true. Dark humor. This is where at least this one makes the most sense, and everyone else is all dry humor. So this one, dry, sardonic, often cracks jokes to keep people at a distance. Yeah, no shit. He's like, hey, man. He's like, I'm going to fucking kill you if you keep that shit up. Okay. Bye.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? What did you just say?
You touch my rifle, I'm going to cut your fucking hand off.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
You're like, oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And then, so haunted but not broken. Carries deep pain but channels it into purpose. Yep. And then reluctant mentor. Thinks he's not good for anyone, but others often follow his lead anyways. So at least he could be, if God forbid Tremorjack was to perish, like he could be another person eventually.
I mean, obviously he would be very reluctant. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like he like I said, like the reluctant mentor. Like
But he can be a backup if need be.
he would again. I think he would still be very reluctant. Like he would be like, I'm not your leader. Like I'm not that person. Like you need to pick somebody else. Like I will go along with whatever you're doing, but I am not gonna lead your little group of losers. Basically, I think.
Well, I
is-
mean,
is
yeah,
what he
you know,
would be.
it kind of reminds me of another one too. I'm thinking about Cable. Does that not remind you a little bit about
Yes.
Cable? Like that,
A little
that
bit,
to
yeah.
me is like very
And
similar.
I think that would be like his personality. Like I will go along with you losers, but I'm not gonna lead you. Like
right. He's like, just get out of my way. Like,
Yeah.
let me do my thing.
just show me where you need me, but I'm not leading you guys. You guys are fucking stupid.
No, and I mean, this guy already. I mean, I'm kind of jealous. Like this, all of that. My God, imagine not having to wear glasses again. That'd be shit. That'd be amazing.
And then, I mean, you have to also add in the fact that all of this, and he probably doesn't even want to do that.
No, of course he doesn't want to do that. I mean, granted, again, when you have all those years of experience and then, already building his basically academy, and doing all that, and then,
But that was the point of the academy, though, was to teach, not to
well, then,
not to
yeah.
do.
Well, right. And then
And now
this
you're
point-
asking him like, this is how we get our life back, and he's like, why do I want my life back? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what life do I want back? The life where my ex-wife doesn't give me my kid. Like, what life do I need back?
right. And he's like, I'm already a lone wolf as it is. So what's the point?
Right. Like, and that's kind of the thing of like, what life do I have to get back to? Like, you want me to fight for a life that that it's not really worth fighting to begin with. Like,
Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't go and work for Varion. You know what I mean? Like he has that mindset in a sense. Like that's
but
the one
Varion would ask him to do the same thing. So I think he's just. I mean, I think he's kind of fucked either way. Like I think he does want. Obviously, like he does want to spend time with his kid, but I think he feels at that point where. I mean, obviously that it's the PTSD that really does affect him.
Well, I mean, no shit. I mean, that could affect anybody, at least in that
But,
sense.
but I think like. I think really it's the kid that drives him more so than anything else. Like
no,
but-
I mean, it makes sense.
the possibly maybe it's you can get back to having that academy, getting back to training people, getting back to that life. That can be like, this is what your motivation is. Like, do you want to go back to training people and having that outlet again? Or do you want to just go back to living in a ditch and
Yeah, pretending to live. I mean, yeah. I mean, I get
You
what
know?
you're saying. I mean, but again, he's one of those ones that I mean, I would say for anybody listening right now, he's one to watch. I would say he's one that you'd probably want to watch, especially in a story like this, like because you never know what could happen, especially with
right?
his mindset. And then the good old mentor, who, hold on, ready? I'm gonna spoil it. Okay. The casting for this one was
Yes.
very surprising.
And we haven't even gotten to the casting. Yet,
I
so
know
we have to go through this one real quick to
But-
get to the casting.
I know, but can I just mention him? Just this one. We're not mentioning everybody else, but just this guy, just real quick. So this guy, okay, if you remember, well, if you ever played Far Cry 6, to be exact, or let's say I don't know, shit, he's been in so many goddamn movies. I'm trying to think of what other things, but
I mean, Breaking Bad, The Boys, Captain America, Brave New World,
Yeah, like-
Mandalorian.
yeah, he's been in a lot. Point is, his name is Giancarlo Esposito. So if you don't know who he is, look him up. I'm telling you, he's a great actor. I think he does a wonderful job. So I was very surprised that they wanted him to be the mentor here, but go for it.
So yes, even though it did give him a last name, and I was kind of against the last name because I don't know if it really makes sense. I mean, it's not like you would spend a whole lot of time with this character, anyways. But
No, I mean, I guess having
Um,
that backstory might help a little bit.
so yes, the mentor, which is his code name. Another code name that we tossed around was the architect, which I don't know if that really works for the movie, but so his real name is Father Elijah Ram,
Elijah Ram.
which is Rahm. He is unmarried because he is a priest in the Catholic faith. He is American, more in particular Afro-Caribbean.
We're gonna try this again.
Caribbean.
He's a former priest. Get it right. He's
Well-
not a priest anymore.
He is still a priest.
To a degree. Just saying.
Just because you're a priest doesn't mean you're a former priest. You're still.
Well, no, I know, but you said
still
former
a priest.
Hold on, it said former priest right here, so I don't understand.
I
that.
copied it from ChatGPT.
Well, then it screwed up.
Just because you're a priest does not mean you're a former priest.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
I'll tell
you're
ya.
a former priest because you probably no longer work for the Catholic Church, but you're
And I
still
get it.
you're still a priest.
Okay, fine, whatever.
But he is American, but his nationality is Afro-Caribbean heritage. So yes,
I find it interesting that this is the only one that didn't actually this is the only one that ever mentioned the ethnicity or nationality. None of them ever mentioned like what the race
Yeah, I
or
don't know.
anything.
Yeah, it didn't, but I don't know. Whatever this one did.
Whatever.
So pre-flare occupation, yes, he's a Catholic priest, professor of theology.
Yes, professor.
Professor. His affiliation is he's been thrown into the zone, and he is within. He is with the resistance in the underground Deviant network. Backstory: before the solar flare, Father Elijah was known as a scholar priest, a quiet but respected theologian who taught ancient religions, philosophy, and metaphysics at a Jesuit university.
Jesuit.
He was deeply spiritual but never dogmatic. His lectures were legendary. Legendary.
Sorry.
Packed with students, rich with moral debates, and infused with a genuine curiosity about the divine. He believed God existed not just in scripture, but in memory, language, and pattern. So when the flare hit, Elijah was leading an evening prayer at his small church, but something in him shifted. He blacked out for hours. When he awoke, he began seeing things no one else could see. Memories that didn't belong, fragments of people that never existed, timelines that hadn't yet happened. While others assumed he was having visions or divine prophecy, Elijah knew better. The flare not only altered him, it had connected him to a hidden layer of reality, a layer that Lucian Crawley was manipulating. The more the purifier rewrote the world, the more Elijah could see the seams and hear the echoes.
So his true power, right? So it's really the reality perception / echo sight. Now, this character kind of ties in with the whole, I guess, movie, if you think about it. So really, it's Elijah seeing the world not as it is, right? But as it was and could be. He perceives timelines as branching paths, fragmented memories, and overlapping truths. This makes him one of the only people immune to Lucian's manipulations without Codex's touch, which, like I said, he's another important part to the story. And so with his abilities, right, attached to his power, so he's got echo sight. So he sees the lingering echoes of altered timelines of what reality used to be before changes occurred. Again, he's the only one that can do this. Memory anchoring can mentally anchor others during moments of emotional instability, helping them resist reality shifts. So that's kind of nice. So like if someone's like literally like grieving or upset about something that's like really major in their time, as long as he's touching them, that's nice. That's a nice thing. Psycho-spiritual insight can sense the emotional truth in others, knows when someone is lying, confused, or broken internally. Talk about a freaking like lie detector in a sense. I mean, that's kind of what I'm gathering from this. I mean, it's like, okay, so you're lying. Well, don't worry. Well, let's get the truth out of you. Temporal empathy can intuitively feel when the timeline is shifting or when something has been rewritten. He doesn't see the changes happening, but he feels wrongness when they occur. It almost sounds like he's doing a Yoda. You know what I mean? It kind of reminds me of that.
He's sort of almost like like an oracle. You know what I mean?
that's
Like he can sense like the emotional truth like in others, so he knows when people are lying, but he knows when things are shifting and changing.
No, I know, but I just find that interesting. That's what it reminded me of for a little bit. But then,
He's like Santa.
He's like, oh my God, Santa.
Santa.
Let me talk, Santa.
Oh my God, Santa.
The fact that we went straight to that thing. Good old elf. Anyways, he has no offensive powers, but his insight and clarity make him the spiritual compass, a strategic guide for the Deviants.
Jesus.
And then, so his role in the story, again, the mentor becomes the first ally to Codex, one of the only people who didn't forget who Ethan was. He's a father figure to many in the zone, respected and quietly feared for how much he seems to know. Unlike the others, Elijah has made peace with his new reality, but because he accepts it, not because he accepts it, sorry, but because he understands it better than anyone else. He is the only one who's helped Ethan realize that his memory gift isn't just about unlocking his past, it's about giving people a chance to hold on to the truth, even when the world lies to them, right? And so while Codex has the power to reconnect people to who they were, it's Elijah who guides them toward who they need to become. That's okay. I like that little thing there. And so, his vibe, his personality, he's wise, he's centered, he's soft-spoken but unshakable. When he speaks, people listen. When he looks at you, it feels like he sees everything. There's a sadness behind his eyes because he knows he'll likely never see the real world again. But he carries hope because he's helping others find their way back. I'm going to tell you right now, that last part right there, that is what we call burnout. That is a true definition right there. Burnout. Because that's basically what he's doing.
I mean, I think if you look at like this character and then, really the mentor, and then you look at Morpheus.
Oh, yeah. No, like I said.
From the Matrix. Like, it's the same thing. Like, that Morpheus has that same, like, it's almost the same thing. Like, you look at Morpheus and there's that same sadness that the mentor in that same line. The sadness behind his eyes because he knows that he'll never see the real world again.
Right.
That's fucking Morpheus because he knows he'll never see that real world again.
No, you're right.
But he's helping all of the other people
get to that point.
Get to find their way back to a better world, knowing that he's helping Neo. And it's the same thing for him. He's helping, Codex and all these other, deviants getting Varion, and Lucian to stop what they're doing.
Actually, I forgot who is Lucian. Oh, actually, never mind. We'll clearly.
He's the purifier.
No, never mind. I'm not going to go there for it. But anyways, no. Looking at him as a character, it's pretty sad in its own way because
he's very much the Yoda in the story. Like,
yeah, he's definitely a Yoda. But I was just more saying about the fact that he's very passionate. He's very this and that. Like you want to talk about selfless service. That's basically what he is. Like, he just defines that he's got this duty. He has this responsibility of saying, hey, you know what? I may never see what the world will likely be at some point, but I'm going to help everyone else get to that point. No offense. This is like, it's like, I'm going to say it. It's like Jesus Christ. You're a prophet. That's kind of, I'm not saying he's like that, but it's close enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
As close as you can get. I'm not trying to compare it to the religious types, but in the sense of that, I'm not saying is, but that's, it's close, or at least close enough. I'm not saying he has to be that holy divine, person, but it's hard.
I would hate to say it, but I would think that he probably would die in the movie.
Yeah, probably early on.
Because of helping them escape from the zone, because there is a big fight where they escape from the zone. So that's where I would think he would die, and that's where I would think that's where that sadness comes from. But moving on to our final kind of piece before we
end the episode.
We're not going to get to the Varion casting. We're just doing the Deviants, because we will get to that one in next week's episode. But the Deviants, Ethan Stone is Codex, casting for that one, Lewis Pullman.
Who was Bill Pullman's son. He's done a lot of movies, too, in the 80s and 90s for sure, so he's another famous one. But, again, the son of him. He's done Top Gun, Maverick. He's done Salem's Lot, Thunderbolts, Stranger, Pray at Night. And, again, yes, I know. I mentioned Bill Pullman's son here.
Yes. Jackson Davis, he's Tremorjack. Shamir Anderson is the actor playing him. He was in John Wick 4. He's done The Marvels, and he was in Winona Earp, the TV show.
I haven't seen it, but I know he's kind of a newer actor in some ways.
He's fairly new, yeah.
And then you got Luke Morrow, so Apex, kind of our vibing guy here, So they casted him as Wes Chapman is the guy who was supposed to play him. So he's done The Escape Plan, The Extractors, The Escape Plan 2, Hunger Games, Mockingjay, Part 1 and 2, Ahsoka, and Tenet. Okay. I didn't know if he was in Ahsoka. I didn't know who he was in Ahsoka.
It said Ahsoka, so I put it in there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess clearly I didn't see him. So, yeah. All right, cool. And then you got Rachel Cole as Golem. She is apparently casted by Julianne Nicholson, who I made the joke. I'm like, oh, is that John or Jack Nicholson's daughter? And he's like, no, I don't think so. There's similar names, but that's not the case. But yes, so she played in Law and Order CI, The Outsider TV show, and Boardwalk Empire. I don't think I've...
she's been in more TV shows.
Oh, yes,
than
that
movies.
was just kind of like...
Oh, yeah. So not a whole lot of movies, but Law and Order Criminal Intent was what she was in more so.
Oh, okay.
But The Outsider is fairly new, and then Boardwalk Empire she was in.
That wasn't I would say at least, I'm going to say that was about 10 years ago, I think, when that show came out. But anyway.
Theo Johnson, that's Alloy. Laz Alonso, he's fairly newer too, but he's up and coming.
Well, he's been in Fast and Furious. Well, wait a minute, he was in Fast and Furious?
Yeah, 2009.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Wasn't he?
He was also in The Boys. He was in Jarhead. He was in Bones.
I didn't realize he was in Bones.
And then he was also in Constantine.
The movie or the show?
I believe the show.
Okay, because The Boys, I mean, yes, we know he's Milk's maid, right? Or no,
Mother's Milk.
Mother's Milk, sorry. And then Mentor, the Archivist.
Yes, we did him already. But
yes, we already did Giancarlo Esposito. But yes, Breaking Bad, Far Cry 6, Mandalorian, The Boys, Captain America, all that fun stuff. But yes, again, interesting characters, interesting people that they casted for, especially when, you look at a concept like this where, again, AI ran this whole thing. You throw a few prompts in, they dive deep in all this stuff. And I mean, it's crazy. I mean, even the fact
really good casting, though.
Well, and it's random, and a lot of it's random. I mean, because I never would have thought to bring in these characters, or at least these people to play these characters, And so it's interesting to see how, if if Hollywood was ever to do this, could we get these people or get similar people?
I think 100% you could get these people in.
Well, it would depend on if they would like the script.
And I think 100% Louis Pullman would pull it off, especially when you have, and I mean, I'll just give Michael Fassbender.
Oh, of course you want to mention him
real quick because because Michael Fassbender and Louis Pullman would be the headliners of the movie.
True. Well, I mean, Giancarlo too. I mean, you could throw him in. He's definitely a bigger.
I mean. He's also starring. I mean, you're going to see him not in the whole movie, but you're going to see Michael Fassbender and Louis Pullman throughout the whole movie.
True. And I know we'll talk about the others later, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely a good casting. I will say that. I think ChatGPT really did a good job of picking and choosing who would be the best, people to be playing these roles. But yes, guys, we've been talking about this now for at least now. This is our second week. Third week now, we're going to be talking more about the Deviant Corporation, that casting, and talking about the characters, and kind of wrapping up the series, if you want to call it, because we got to move on to bigger and better things. We definitely are going to be excited about our next few weeks down the road, because all that's going to be is the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Because we're going to be diving into that shit. And we definitely got some plans, man. We definitely got some episodes coming up, and let me put it this way:
I got a great one to kick it off too.
Yeah, I know, and I do remember that, and I also know that. Yes, let's just say that I'm hoping here that we can get some of our or hopefully other podcasts that we've been talking to, and possibly one that we've already done one with. Hopefully on another episode within the near future, so we're trying to get, like I said, we're trying to get more people on here, trying to push that narrative forward. And again, just try to get our name out there, because we're just two dudes on two different mics, man. That's just, that's our vibe. That's the game, But anyways, boys and girls, we're finally done with this episode. We're going to be moving on to our third episode. So stay tuned till next time.
Stay geeky, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.